Hey bass friends, we have got another special guest in the studio today. This is a Sweetwater exclusive Music Man Stingray from the Ball Family Reserve. This is the Anthracite Stingray, and it plays as amazing as it looks. Before we dive in fully, I just want to give a huge shout out to my friend Jeff, who is letting me borrow and review this marvelous bass. Also, there are chapters on this video, so if you want to skip around to the parts that you are most interested in, you can do that. There are also links below to my research and affiliate links to gear I use in the studio. If you buy anything through those links, I make a little bit of commission, which is an easy way to support the channel, buying things you already want without paying anything extra. Well, let's dive in. Anthracite is a type of coal, which is the most pure and highest quality coal there is. The back of the bass is possibly anthracite gray, which is a shade lighter than pure black. And that fades into this lovely figured maple top, which I guess resembles flames of some sort. I'm not sure if that was their intent, but regardless, it is a marvelously looking instrument. The neck is an astonishing roasted flame maple, and as far as I can tell, this is a single piece of maple. There are no cutouts where the truss rod gets installed, and with a 5-bolt neck, the craftsmanship is fantastic, and it looks amazing. It has super lightweight Music Man tuners, which are so light they feel plastic to the touch, but not cheap. They're solid, but they just feel weird to the touch, that's all. The 4-string version features the single humbucker pickup with an 18-volt 3-band preamp for tone shaping. The 5-string, if you buy one of those, comes with the HH configuration, which has 2 humbucker pickups. So these anthracite basses were built as a collaboration between Sweetwater and Music Man. So all of the specs and wood choices were decided by the bass aficionados at Sweetwater, and then handed off to Music Man to be built according to their most exacting craftsmanship standards for the Ball Family Reserve. And the Ball Family Reserve is their highest level of craftsmanship and instruments, and they usually don't make many of them when they do. Everything about this bass feels and looks the highest quality. It looks and feels special. The entire bass has a coating of high-gloss polyester, which protects it from dings and dents and preserves the look of the bass. Also, for a fretless bass, the polyester should hold up on the fingerboard pretty well, but I'm sure Jeff will let them know if it doesn't. Because for the cool price of $3,700, this is a collector's item and a showroom piece for sure, and you would expect a bass of this level of craftsmanship to be able to withstand the test of time, even if you do choose to gig with it. So these basses dropped just a few weeks ago, and while I haven't found anything online about the number of basses that they'll actually make in this run, Jeff tells me that it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 20. Craftsmanship and looks it has in spades, and it being a Ball Family Reserve bass, you know they didn't let it out of the factory without sounding pristine as well. I have reviewed Jeff's Stingray 35 and Retro 76 recently and really enjoyed the way those played and sounded, but we'll take a look at how a fretless version holds up. It's been a good long while since I've played a fretless bass of any kind, so this has been a lot of fun getting back into and exploring the tonal options you get just by virtue of it being a fretless bass. If you've played a Stingray or watched my other reviews of them, the tone knobs are the same as on the other Stingrays. It's still a Stingray after all, but by removing the frets, it actually changes the way the bass reacts to those tonal changes. Just removing the frets will give any bass a very different tone. So let's explore the way this bass sounds and plays with no frets. Let's start out by talking about the obvious thing that everyone immediately wants to do with a fretless bass. The first thing you must do is to play something with lots of sliding around. So this next sample is with the EQ at 12 o'clock or completely flat. So this is just the natural tone that this bass produces without any boosting or cutting of any frequencies. Slide to your heart's content. It's a lot of fun. Playing fretless is tons of fun. You kind of feel like the guardrails have come completely off. You feel like an upright bass player, no frets to hold you back at all. The hardest part of playing fretless is keeping good intonation. This bass has fret dot inlays along the side of the neck to give you a reference of where the frets would be if you had them. These are in a different position from normal fret markers, which are usually halfway between the frets. In this case, the dots are exactly where the frets would be. So it at least helps you get in the ballpark, but there's still a lot of practice that needs to happen to make sure that your intonation is good and accurate, because you have no frets to help you with that. All right, let's move on. So that last one was with nothing boosted, just the standard tone of the bass. Let's boost some of the bass frequencies and see what kind of changes we get to the tone and what kind of groove that inspires. By the way, all of these grooves and most of the grooves on my channel are all original grooves that I create to suit the bass, tone, and groove of the drums. So enjoy this one with the bass boosted. With that bass boosted, you get a really nice low-end bloom. It's got punch and presence without being overbearing or overly boomy. It fills out a perfect spot in the frequency spectrum for a fretless bass to bring out some of that low-end goodness without muddying things up. It is a very nice bass boost, indeed. When we put that boost back to normal and we crank up the mid-range, it's bound to do some fun things to the tone on a fretless bass. It creates an interesting effect that happens on fretless bass when we boost those mid-range frequencies. We almost get like a phaser effect on the long notes. It brings a lot of definition and punch to notes all across the spectrum, and also brings to the front a lot of the tone that people expect to hear out of a fretless bass. It's got a Jaco-esque tone without being an exact Fender jazz bass clone. It's got its own flavor of fretless tone that I actually really enjoy, and is very easy to dial in. I don't know that I would keep that mid-range knob cranked all the time, but there's definitely a lot of great tone to be added in with it. With the bass and mid-range giving a lot of great depth and tone, let's explore the treble knob and what kinds of fun tones that unlocks. This one was interesting to me. Cranking up the treble knob all the way doesn't feel like it made the tone so trebly that it would be unusable, which is usually what I assume with treble knobs in general. If you crank it up, it gets really clacky, and unless you got a lot of distortion on it, I don't like it all that much. But this brought out some of the plucking, clack, and string noise, but mostly it just gave that fretless growl a little more definition, which is nice. I still think it's a knob to be used sparingly and in good taste, but it's a very usable tone, and used in conjunction with the rest of the EQ, there's a lot you could do with these knobs to cut through a dense mix. As expected, there's really no way to go wrong with the EQ on a Stingray. It'll sound good no matter what you do, even on a fretless. But who is this bass for? Who other than Jaco Pastorius, Steve Bailey, and other jazzers would want a fretless bass? Actually, you might be surprised how often fretless has been used outside of jazz since Jaco stripped his frets off of his jazz bass. Take Pino Palladino, for example, an absolute legend of a bassist who made his name playing fretless bass with pretty much everyone, from Paul Young, 9 Inch Nails, The Who, John Mayer, a bunch of others. He's a legend, and he's played a good amount of that stuff on fretless bass. He plays others, but a lot of his early stuff was fretless. Also, oddly enough, fretless is used more often than you would think in heavy metal genres. For whatever reason, it's found a place there. And to do well in other genres, you might need some effects. Two really popular effects for fretless bass have been distortion and chorus. So you can find chorus and distortion effects used in everything from all the way back to Jaco. He used them in his solos as well. So let's see how this thing does when we throw on some effects, just for fun. This is a lot of fun playing with effects on fretless. It really opens up a lot of possibilities and sonic options that you don't easily get with a fretted bass. So like I said before, it's been quite a few years since I played fretless bass. I sold mine a bunch of years ago because it just never got played, and at the time I didn't want to put in the time or effort to get good at fretless bass. And I thought, I'll never buy one again because why would I need one? But I might reconsider that after playing this bass for a few weeks. It's been a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed it a lot. This bass is a joy to play. It sounds amazing, and also you feel amazing playing it, because every time you pick it up, it's like looking at a magnificent piece of art. I feel rich playing such a premium instrument, and it really helps that no matter what I did to the EQ, the thing still sounds amazing. You really can't go wrong with this bass. I've talked about Jeff's other Ball Family Reserve basses and limited edition basses, and when I reviewed his limited 5-string Stingray, I wasn't sure I would ever take such a premium instrument out on the road with me. I didn't know if I was going to gig with it, if I had one. But now that I've played more and had more time to consider, I might be changing my mind about that. I still think that if you needed an amazing instrument to have in the studio for session work or something, that was a bit of a showstopper to impress clients with, something like this would be high on my list of basses to buy for the studio. But also, I got a comment on one of my YouTube videos that essentially said that It would be a shame to hide such a bass and never gig with it. They were meant to be played and seen, not locked away in a basement as resale investments. And you know, I'm starting to agree with that. Would I take this to a dive bar where some drunkard is gonna spill his cheap beer on it? No, absolutely not. Would I play it in my army dress blues? Heavens no, not unless I wanted to scratch the heck out of it. But I would take it to other gigs where this is less, where there's less of a chance of getting it dinged by some careless kid on stage. And I'm starting to think that I would gig with something like this. You see, this bass is a work of art in how it looks and sounds. And art was meant to be seen, meant to be enjoyed and appreciated. Showing it off is part of the fun of having a premium instrument like this. So why keep it hidden? Can you get Stingrays for cheaper? Yes. Could you get a fretless Stingray that doesn't cost as much? Sure, you totally could. But there is something special about having a limited instrument. It's unique. It's got personality with the, unique wood grains that you get. It's an instrument that almost no one else has in the world. And that's special. And it makes you feel special, which is awesome. And for some people, is worth the price. You really can't go wrong with any Stingray from what I've seen so far. It's just a well-designed piece of gear. But there is something to be said for the craftsmanship and pizzazz of having a unique, limited instrument. So whether you're one of the lucky 20 to ever own this particular limited run of the Anthracite Stingray, or just someone looking at fretless basses, I think that my takeaways from this experiment are that fretless is fun, but it takes practice. Buying an expensive fretless bass will not make you better at it, but you will look and feel much cooler while playing it. And also, if you're looking at fretless basses, the Stingray is a solid choice. You don't have to go get a fretless Fender jazz bass just because Jaco. I would play this any day, fretted or fretless. So it's an awesome choice. This is unsurprisingly a fantastic instrument. There really isn't anything not to like about it, and I have no cons about this bass. It's a classy, good sounding instrument that plays well and looks amazing. And if you've made it this far, I thank you for watching this much. Hit the subscribe button. It helps me a ton to reach my goal of monetizing this channel. And let me know in the comments what you think of fretless Stingrays. Would it be worth it to you to get a limited edition bass like this one? Let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. Keep grooving, and we'll see you in the next one.